Hello, happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. It's social meteorologist Bob Clubs. Just before 4 p.m., I'm going to give you a little rundown of the snow situation for tomorrow. Now, all day long today, I've had people coming to me in a near panic. Is it going to snow? What's going to go on? What are you thinking about this snow? We're going to get out of school, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. It is difficult to look at this icon here on the National Weather Service forecast for tomorrow and see a 70% chance of wintry mix and not get just a little bit carried away. You know, since we still have some of our more rural school districts which seem to have been thrown into the Stone Age by Winter Storm Galactus and are still out of school. And so just today, when we start to get to a more seasonable temperature, to see something like that with a 70% certainty does strike a little bit of fear into the hearts of some. But you've got to pay attention to this number too, of 38. We would not expect this to be a long-lasting impact. So I wouldn't get too carried away about this if I were you. But if you look more at the forecast, it says rain, snow, freezing rain, and sleet likely before 4 p.m. and then slight chance of snow between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Again, concerning. Chance of precipitation 70%. Oh my goodness, but then little or no ice accumulation expected, little or no snow accumulation expected. Okay. So let's take a look at some models and see where this thing might be headed. The thing about this one is the models want to put a little bit of scattered wintry precipitation here ahead of it. It's basically a clipper system, an Alberta clipper coming down out of Canada, and it's going to begin to fire up here in the Dakotas and then kind of swoosh down like the clipper systems want to do. But the models want to paint in a little bit of freezing rain and maybe some sleet ahead of it and under it. But as you can see, it does take a track mostly through Illinois and then take a sharp easterly direction and float on off over Indiana and Ohio. So it looks to stay impact-wise mostly east of the Mississippi. I think what we would have to deal with here in southeast Missouri is what happens between this click and this click. When you get that freezing rain from here to here, what happens? So we may get a little bit of slickness. This would put us right at about noon. So it's basically what happens between, I'd say 9 and noon tomorrow here in Cape and Jackson that would be the potential for some slickness. If you don't mind me making up the word. If you look here at the National Weather Service and where they have placed some winter weather advisories, they tend to agree with that track that we just looked at there from the NAM model, and it does mostly keep it and turn it to the east here and go on across. So again, we are not included in that kind of a situation there with that. Let's look at a couple more models though, just to show you more detailed. This is a radar prediction, basically, is this composite reflectivity. And you see that it follows a very similar track as it does come on down. We'll have to check this one a little bit later tonight and just make sure that it does go down this way. This one, though, this is an outlier in terms of what it wants to predict for tomorrow. Take a look at this one. It wants to keep a little bit more precipitation over here and in fact build almost a little front of precipitation right here across Missouri and then move it on across. So if we had that kind of a situation play out tomorrow, then that would be a little bit of a bigger cause for concern perhaps. This one also brings everything in just a little bit earlier, so it would also impact the drive. But right now I'm going to stick with the National Weather Service, and you know that if you've watched very many of these videos, you've seen this a lot. Here's why I'm not real concerned about this. I want you to look at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, this predicts our temperature to rise to 32 and go up from there. If you go down to this line, this is the probability of precipitation. It begins to rise at about 9 o'clock. and peak out here between 9 and noon, just like we saw earlier. So going from a 39% chance up into the 60s and then down to a 57% chance. But this would also indicate that the temperatures would be above freezing, so I don't anticipate that that would be a huge deal. If we come on down here and look at the probabilities of different precipitation types, a little bit of snow until 9, switching over to rain. Probabilities of maybe some freezing rain, again going away and switching over to just rain. Sleet wants to hang around, and I think that that would be the biggest cause for concern tomorrow, if we would get some sleet to come down that might make things a little bit slick. So I would say, certainly check in with the radars and things in the morning if you're going to be doing some driving, and just see where that line of precipitation is and how it's playing out compared to this, if most of it seems to be going to the east. And I'm sure that I'll be posting some things in the morning as well as it plays out. But really the only thing that would concern me is if this model situation would come into play rather than this model situation. Because this would obviously mean that the winter weather advisory placement would need to change. But most of what I'm seeing indicates that this is probably a good prediction of where any potential for slickness would occur tomorrow. So that is the long answer to the question of is there going to be snow? It looks like not much. It looks like maybe not at all. But you know how these things play out. We'll have to just wait and see. If any information changes through the course of the evening, I will of course bring that to you. And I'll be posting in the morning as well if anything changes. I'm social meteorologist Bob Clubbs, watching the weather so you don't have to.